For those of you, you might know me or you might not know me. My name's Chris. I'm the family and student pastor here, and I have the awesome opportunity to be the director of all of our campuses for family and students. And as you know, like you got to see, I mean, our students are incredible, and we're spread over 3 campuses. There's some here, there's some over we're at West Market. We're over at Springbrook, and then some at Irwin. But here's the cool thing: we got to see students' lives change literally one brick at a time. Because everything we talked about this weekend was being built different. And what that looks like as followers of Jesus, what we're called to do and what we're called to be this weekend. And I got to watch it transform, these students transform right in front of my eyes. And I've done this for a long time, but it's always something different. It's always something more, because that's what Jesus is and who he is. There's always something more and something different. And I kind of just want to walk you through like what this weekend meant to us. So our focal verse was this. It was John 13, and I'm going to pull it up on my phone. This is one of those things, man, like God starts moving, and I'm just going to listen to him. You know what I mean? So John, let's throw it up, John 13. I don't know if you can pull it up or not, Courtney. That might be a harder move. John 13. I can just say it. Y'all know it is. If you have your Bible, turn to it. We're going to be in 34 and 35. And this is one that we quote often because it's important to all of us. And it says like this. It reads like this. He says, it's all the red letters right here. He says, a new commandment I give you, love one another as I have loved you, so that you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. That's a key verse that we set on. Why do we set on that verse? Because everything that we did this weekend, the prayers that went out, the people that walked into this building, everything that was done was created on love. And it's so beautiful because that's what God did. He came down, he came out of heaven to earth to die so that you and I could live. And it was all built around one thing, and that's love. Love is the catalyst for everything that we as followers of Jesus should do. Every single thing. And I think sometimes we come into a world where there's so many things against us and so many people that are against us, pushing and pulling and trying to get us to go every which way. But God said, I loved you enough to leave my home in heaven, to come to earth, to die for you. That's the beautiful story of the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I wasn't even supposed to talk about that, but I can't speak about the love. I can't speak about having a weekend where we build one another up without talking about the love of Christ. It's the biggest thing that we could ever imagine. So church, can we celebrate what God did this weekend? Can we celebrate, like, just give a hand clap? Man, God did some incredible stuff. I watched students come unfold. I mean, that students worship, they opened up, they took some steps of faith. I saw that happen this weekend. I know that some of our small group leaders are just like, you know what? I'm glad there's coffee, caffeine, and energy drinks, or I'd be done for, as they raise their can. I appreciate that. Right? Man, these guys went home with these students and they poured their life into them. I mean, we're talking from Friday night all the way till today. Like, they were with them all the time. And it's a very special time for us, for students, right? Because they get to spend more time in this weekend than they would throughout the whole entire year because of the amount of time we get to be with them. And it's so cool because this is where bonds grow. This is where things come together, because they can share things that they heard in their lessons. And like, you know, on a Wednesday night, we get a couple of hours, right? We come in, we do some games, we sing some worship, and then we got about 20 to 25 to 30 minutes of Bible teaching. And then after that, we kind of go into our small groups for 45 minutes, and then we're kind of on to the house. But during this weekend, those conversations can linger. After the message happens, they go back to their host homes. And like Justin said, he was up till 1 o'clock last night talking because he's a host home. So I'm thankful for all the people. There's so many people that made meat. Y'all are awesome. I see y'all's whole crew over here. Man, I called y'all the meat mafia all weekend. Y'all were incredible. But like, people who cooked, people who cleaned, people who prayed, people who did so many things this weekend and poured into these students. And students, you'll never know. I'm going to tell you this, right? You'll never know the amount of work that went into this weekend, but I will tell you this. There's so many people out here that are like, I don't even want nobody to know, but I want to do something for you. And they're here. It's incredible. So After a long weekend, like I said, I watched students building, not just brick by brick, but with their lives, right? Like you see our theme, there's Lego blocks everywhere, there's stuff everywhere. But we talked about building on the right foundation this weekend. There's so many foundations that you and I can build on, but God calls us to build on the right one. And it starts with Christ Jesus as the center of that. So night one, we kind of walked through that night one. We asked the question, like, what are you building your foundation on, or what is your foundation? And that's where I'm going to talk about and kind of linger on today. So we want to talk through that. The biggest takeaway, this is a takeaway I want to talk about today. Throw that up there for me. If you want to live different, you have to build different. If you and I want to live different, we have to build different. A lot of things we build our life on different things. And if I'm honest, this ain't just for students, it's for all of us, right? This is for the entire church, not just the students. Some of us have built our lives on success, relationships, or approval, or maybe even comfort. As you walked in here this morning, maybe you said, I can't make it into the building unless I got my cup of coffee. I get you, right? Like, I drink cup of coffee. Some of you don't drink cups of coffee. You drink gallons of coffee, and that's okay too. I'm not judging you. But, right, there's certain things that we have to have when we walk into the building every day. But God has called us to do something different. And while all of that works for a while, right, if we build our life on success, we build on comfort, we build on relationships, we build on approval, if we do all of those things, and while it might work for a little while, it's crazy when life hits us and we start to fall apart. The reality is this, right? When we build, when something starts to shake our foundation, where do we run to in the middle of all that? Some of us run to different outlets. We try to do things, or we talk it through. Some of us isolate and kind of curl in. But here's what we challenge the students to do. We ask them to run to the only anchor that matters at all, and that's Christ. The person who will never leave you nor forsake you or do anything. He only wants the best for you. He loved you so much that he died for you. And if you try to build your house or anything on anything else other than Christ, it's going to be a problem. Right? So Jesus talks about this in Matthew 7, 24 and 25, or 24 through 27. It reads like this. These are red words, right? It says, therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who builds his house on the rock. The rain came, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who builds his house on the sand. The rains came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat up against it and against the house, and it fell in a great crash. See, what you build your life on matters, right? See, the wise builder built his house on the rock. And that rock, what we're talking about here, of course, is he's being intentional, saying, build your house on me, right? Build your house on the one who can actually do something about it. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but I know for me, I get into these places where I get worried. I'm not a big worrier. I don't worry that often, but sometimes when I get into these spots, I start to spiral down and my head starts swimming, right? And it's like, well, what do I do? I remember, and it's hard. This has been years of practice. I'm like, it's helpful. I have an awesome wife who, like, when I start to struggle, she's like, hey, remember what God's made you to be. It's helpful. Students, you know this, right? You guys have small group leaders. You have us, church leaders, who love you well. And like when you start to spiral out of control, they step in and they're like, hey, get your head back. Try to focus. That's what God calls us to do. We need one another. You know, Brett and Carrie were talking about up on the screen. You need a community. Let me tell you right now, you'll never find better community. But here, in order to have community, you have to be vulnerable and step out. It takes that. It takes a level of vulnerability to step into community. So here's the thing about those two different scenarios. The storm hit both of them. Right? Different outcome. Why? Why was there a different outcome? Because of its foundation, right? And what Jesus is saying is our big takeaway. If you want to live different, you have to build different. Right? The difference between the two were just the foundations. And anyone that's in building, I couldn't have told you this years ago, but as I'm building now, like I started seeing it matters about a foundation, right, Sal? It matters, right? Like you start building something and all of a sudden your house is like this. Let me tell you, nothing will be square. That was my house. And then you got to build up and build up. And if it keeps moving, it's going to change. So here's the reality. Each one of us need to build ourselves on it. Students, that's what we talked about this weekend, building on. So let me ask you a question. It's a question for every single one of us. The question is this. What are you building your life on right now? What are you building your life on right now? Is it success? Is it relationships? Is it comfort? Is it control? Because whatever you build your life on will determine what stands when life gets hard. And that's what these kids walk through this week. There's some that come with horrendous stories. There's some that come with that they're like, hey, I'm struggling through some things, and they just need someone to talk to. And here's the challenge for most small group leaders, and for all of us, right? Like, we don't want them. We love our students to love on us and to hang on us and all that stuff, but our goal is really to point them towards the only one who can truly help their situation, and that's Jesus, right? We can sit here and we can talk to them all day and we can give them solutions. We can help them out, but here's the problem. We can help and we can mold and we can show, but like being consistent and loving on them is like, hey, so what's Jesus say about this? And I know that's hard when you're going through the storm, right? If your foundation is not on the rock, you're already all to pieces. You're like, what do I do? It's swirling. The storm is raging and it's hitting you so hard and so much. Right now, you're like, what do I do with all of this? Having someone in your life who's very intentional, who can talk to you, right? Who can lead you in the right direction. The first night, like I said, we talked about building our house on the foundation. Second night, we talked about of choosing the right bricks. What bricks are in your life for the people that you put in your life? Because it's literally something that you get to choose, right? People say this all the time. Tell me your 5 closest friends and I'll tell you who you are, right? So students got an opportunity. It's like, hey, not every brick is good for the build, right? If you notice over here, you see all these things here, these platforms. This is one of my most blown away things that happened the whole weekend. There's a lot of things, spiritual stuff that happened that was even incredible, but this blew me away. So if you notice all of these things, there's different ones. Every small group had their own build. It started with this. Seems like a seemingly random bag of stuff. Like literally my wife scooped them from that store downtown, put them in a bag, and we had no idea. We're like, what are we going to do with that? I'm like, we'll see how creative they can be, right? So they go and they build. They had all weekend. They got to build. They built all day Saturday, and then they presented them Saturday night, and then they had to have a story attached to all of them. It was beautiful. Now, let me show you what one of these people did. Well, one of these groups did. They built a well. Can you believe that? Out of this bag of just stuff, this. Not only that, then we have Jesus praying at the cross right here. We have built right here. This one's built, but we are built. It's a tree. It was a tree, but we are built different, is what this one is saying. There's a cross on the inside of this one. That was a cool one. That was awesome. This one was cool because it was like, you are built different. There so much creativity. God can take what you seem randomly events or random struggles that are in our life, right? This is my life at one point, right? Broken to pieces, broken up, messed up, completely scarred up. This was me. This was you. But then God took this and created this stuff. That's what God does when you let him take control of your life. And that's what, when God starts to build, when you build your foundation on Christ, that's exactly what happens in students. That's what you learn this weekend. That God can take, you think it's random, like the hurts that you had and the struggles you had and the pains you had and the teams you didn't make and the stuff that's going, all of that creates something like this. Maybe you've heard it before. He takes these ashes and turns them into beauty. That's what he does. He's in the business of resurrection. He's in the business of restoration. He's in the business of doing work that only he can do, right? See, we're building on something. When you don't build your life on Christ, you build on something that won't last. But when you do, it's not just something that lasts, it's something that's eternal. That's what Christ promised us, right? Here's the good news. God doesn't walk away from anyone. He doesn't walk away from any build, no matter where you're at. He walks into it. He rebuilds them. He helps us, right? So each one of us, God has called us to do some incredible stuff. And here's what I want to know. This weekend, what happened here as we were being built different, as we were changing the whole thing, what God called us to do. God called us to do a few different things. What I love about this weekend is I got to see not just our students, but to see our church step up and do incredible, miraculous things. And some of those things were they showed up and they served and they put up chairs and they took down chairs and they cleaned and they served food. And some of them came and just all kinds of things all week long. And then I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This beautiful stage design might be one of the best ones I've ever seen in my life. I know it don't seem like, y'all don't know, if you knew the amount of hours, I think it was 13, 14, 18, I don't know, more than that imaginable went into this. You would think it didn't, but it was incredible. So you know who you are, and you're awesome. Like, it's Rebecca Sharp, but it was incredible. So I'm thankful for that, and it was a cool stage design. So it was cool. I had so many compliments this weekend. It was just people were just like, "This was awesome. This was awesome. This was awesome." I was like, "It was awesome." So I'm thankful for that, to have people that invested. Here's the thing: the kind of church we want to be, each one of us. This is the church that we have here, and I love it so much. The church that builds on Jesus, not a church that's just all about. We love to have fun, but we like to build on Jesus. Second thing, we love to invest. You can notice all these kids sitting up here. We love to invest in the next generation. That's a big thing right here. We love investing in these kids, growing with these kids, and loving on these kids. And the third thing, we live out what we believe. We love to live out what we believe, right? And every leader, every parent, every volunteer, this is what you guys are doing. You are helping build a world. You're helping build lives of students that are going deep. Their roots are going deep because you've invested your time, your talents, and your treasures into these students. Like, it's so cool to be like, hey, we got these ideas, and they're like, just do it. Whatever you want to do. It's incredible. You don't get that everywhere. You don't get that everywhere. So we're not just rating students here. This is one of the things I know about us. We're not just raising students. We're raising disciple makers who will go make other disciple makers. That's what we do, right? We get to pour our lives into these kids, and it's more than just a build. So without further ado, I'm so excited about what you're going to see the next few moments. We have a group of students. We have some students that are going to be interviewing. A student's going to be interviewing some people and some leaders. They're going to come up here, so y'all can come on and start coming this way. Get these chairs set up right here so they can talk through some things. It's going to be awesome. So I hope you're ready to listen, because I don't want you to just hear me speak about it. I want them to talk about it as well. How many I got? Why did she run away? She can come back. All right. Come on over here. We got one. How many you got? 4 kids? Okay. All right. Well, come on up here. Where's Can I get this microphone? I guess the pink one. Yeah. Here you go, pink one. And can I get a blue one too? Let y'all do this. Bo, they need you. Apparently they need you. Hey, don't y'all feel bad. This is how it was all weekend. Huh? He needs some. Middle school small group leader. You can go ahead and start. Go ahead, Ken. You can ask some questions. It'll be fun. There you go.
So this weekend we didn't want to just talk about it, but actually get a student's perspective and a small group leader's perspective. So the first question I have for them is, what did God show you this weekend for Cooper and Abby?
For me, I learned that God doesn't just build what's good; He builds what matters. So, He might not always give you what you want, but He will give you what matters in the long run.
Something for me is that I learned that I need to be more intentional about the bricks that I choose to place on my foundation, because not every brick is made to be put on there. Welcome.
On.
Yep.
Okay. For the small group leaders, what did you see in your group this week? This weekend, I guess.
So this week I saw God moving in my group this week. We had a lot of great conversations in our time together at the host home. And I think really, and somebody had a good answer. You got a good small group leader.
Yeah, Alex is pretty good.
Yeah. he is pretty good. And so I think just seeing how God is working in their lives is what I noticed this week.
This week, I got to see some incredible vulnerability and some honesty with my girls, and the fact that they got to immerse themselves in a community and see what a community is all about. Getting to see how you interact with people, how it's going to build the rest of your life, and what other people can do for you and what you can do for them.
For Abby and Cooper, what changed for you this weekend? Like something you realized that you didn't think you were going to realize this weekend?
Mine would probably be my relationship with God. Like, I never really realized how in depth that was, like how many layers and structures, and like how complex, I guess that's the word, is. I always thought I was like, here's this and this. Okay, we're together now. I realized that it's like, okay, to do this, you have to do that. And to love someone like this, you have to love like that. And it's all part of the one complex puzzle, really.
For me, I just learned more about my relationship, not only with God but with other people. Because a good note that I had was learn to build relationships, not just connections. Because every connection is not a relationship. So you have to be, intentional with the people that you want in your inner circle, and then also with your relationship with God.
For oh, what are you doing to build up your students throughout the weekend, throughout their lives?
Okay.
What are you doing to build up your students?
So I think what we try to do to build up our students is, most importantly, teach them about Christ and growing in that relationship, but also just being there to support them. I mean, they go through things that we've been through and sometimes things we haven't. But just being there to support them and show them that we're there for them, but we're there because Christ put us here for them.
Okay, so one thing that we do to build up our students, Brittany and I, is we sit with consistency. So we want them to be able to consistently rely on us to point them in the right direction, because consistency is key with all faith, because the moment you slip up, they see that you slip up and they're like, oh, can you fail? And you want to be able to be like, you can fail, but you always need to turn back consistently. Consistently keep showing up, consistently keep making the right decisions, and consistently continue to rely on the right people in your life.
For Abby and Cooper, what are you going to do with what you learned this weekend? And how are you?
I'll probably try to use it in my community and show what they've taught me, and kind of for the students take the milk jug and pour it out to each other and try to spread it to the community.
I think I'm just going to apply it in not only just growing my faith more in God and then in the friendships that I have and in the new friendships that I did make, and just continue to build that.
Bo and Mackenzie, why do your students matter to you so much?
I love that question. They make you think. They make you grow your faith because they're going to ask those hard questions and go through those hard things. And I want to be the type of person that they can rely on to know that they are loved and to know that they are seen and heard and not alone. Because a lot of them, sometimes they feel alone even though they're surrounded by people. And it's a big thing that we talked about this weekend is we have more connections than we've ever had, but they feel so alone. But this is a place that I want to be able to say that they don't feel alone here. They feel seen, they feel heard. And I feel like that's just a beautiful thing. And I couldn't be more grateful to be that person for them.
I need you to repeat the question. So my students matter so much because, I mean, it's what Chris was talking about earlier, is building up this next generation to make disciples. Because when I was their age, I didn't have somebody to do that for me. And I had turned away from the faith completely. So I want to see that built up in them, and I want to see them go out and apply that and truly be built different than I was, built different than the people out there who don't have leaders. And I think it's important to see that in them. And really, I think I take far more and I get far more out of it than they do, because I learn so much from them, and being around them, it changes my life. Thank you.
That's all I have. Yeah. It was really cool to see this weekend, like the change of all the kids around me. My cousins got to come, and I never get to see them. It was pretty cool just to see the life change of all the people around me and get to have new friends that I,
And I think that's why this weekend, it means so much, because you see the impact that it can have on us, and especially on these students and in their lives, and seeing the impact that God has on all of us and how he changes us and moves us. And I mean, it's beautiful to see God working, and how he worked this weekend was amazing. It was, I mean, I was here last year, and to see God working this year in amazing ways, and we won't even see the impact right now that it's going to have. It's going to be years to come that we see how God was working this weekend.
Your kid on stage cry, I'm for it. Thanks. Ask me if I'm in my feels right now. I am. So, man, I just want to end it with like this. We're so grateful to be able to spend time with students, hang out with them. Man, we're grateful. You can hear the hearts of these leaders, these students, of what, like, and if we were to go around to every single student, there's impact that was made. I remember moments when I was a student that transformed my whole life, right? Seeing that someone who's consistently consistent, right, is important. And then also, we were just sitting back there as you and Bo, like as Mackenzie and Bo were talking, it just hit me. This is something we say all the time. There's unlimited spiritual growth when you pour your lives into other people, right? You grow way beyond if you're pouring into other people, you start to grow more because you want to be able to help them. You want to help to grow them. You want to show them. Like it challenges you to be more. Because a lot of us tend to just surface level stuff. And when you get beyond the surface level and you get to the deeper, changes the game. I was one of those kids. Right? Got invited to a Baptist church and said, hey, we're going to love on you. I hung out. God changed my life. Went from a kid who literally had nothing, but was shown love in a building, not like this, but was shown love by a leader who poured into me and saw more in myself than I did of me. Changes you. When you get to see that happen over and over and over again, it just warms my heart. So I'm so thankful and eternally grateful to these students. I'm grateful to the parents who poured in. I'm grateful to every single person who prayed, who loved, who did all the things for these kids. I'm so thankful.